文を祈る。
どうした？
愛してる。愛していると言われた。
Hey, hey, my dear pirates! And in today's video, we're going to talk about the possible relationship between Luffy and Boa Hancock. Ever since she was introduced to the series, Hancock has been the target of love and hate from One Piece fans. That's because the character is openly in love with Luffy. However, the main character's naivety and ignorance made him not see the obvious. The two were together for a long time, with Hancock being instrumental in Luffy having the chance to rescue his brother, Portgas the Ace. Because of that, in this video, I'm going to talk about the best couple in the whole world, Boa Hancock and Monkey D. Luffy. I will introduce the two characters, and I will also highlight a speech by Oda to support my thesis. I will put the story between them, and I will show a small parallel between Gold D. Roger and the protagonist. Will they both be together? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, but first of all, go ahead and press that like button with all the power of your devil fruit. And if you're new here, my dear sailor, already subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notifications bell. Now, without further ado, let's get to this epic video. And well, my dear pirates, Boa Hancock, known as the Pirate Empress, is the ruler of Amazon Lily, the place where former Shichibukai Bartholomew Kuma sent Luffy to the end of the Sabaody Archipelago saga. She is the captain of the Kuja Pirates, being allied with the world government only to protect her island. She ate the Mero Mero no Mi, love fruit, seducing her enemies and turning them to stone. She is the only female to hold the rank of Shichibukai in all of OP history, having a current bounty of 1,696,000,000 berries. She is also considered the most beautiful woman in the world. Although she kept her title intact even as she helped Luffy in the War of the Best, it is to be expected that the world government is watching her closely, leaving no room for another betrayal. The character was featured in the Amazon Lily arc and the Impel Down and Marineford sagas. Now, speaking of Monkey D. Luffy, known as Straw Hat, is the protagonist of the work. Together with his crew, he plans to find Gold D. Roger's legendary treasure and become the next pirate king. He ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi rubber fruit, being able to stretch his body and create very strong battle forms. Luffy has an incredible streak in his genealogy, being the son of Revolutionary Army leader Monkey D. Dragon, grandson of Marine hero Monkey D. Garp, and brother of two commanders, Portgas the Ace of the Whitebeard Pirates Band and Sabo of the Revolutionary Army. He's also the adopted son of a mountain thief, Curly Dandan. The protagonist is part of the infamous pirates called Supernovas. After his invasion of Toto Land, fighting the Yonko Big Mom pirates and escaping alive, the world press now dubs him the 5th Emperor, a Gonko, and the Navy has increased his bounty from 500 million berries to 1.5 billion, and currently has a 3 billion berries reward after defeating Kaido and Big Mom. Knowing the characters, let's see what One Piece author Eiichiro Oda thinks of the infamous couple. Oda did an interview for the American version of Shonen Jump, which was published in interview form with Chan Young in 2007 and North American versions of SBS as answers to questions from readers S.J. Young Chan in 2008. During fan questions, the One Piece mangaka was asked who Nami would relate to, and his response was as follows: "Who is Nami going to stay with? In a romantic sense, I don't think there will be any romance between the crew. In other words, my dear sailors, therefore it is logical to say that if there will not be a relationship between the Straw Hats, the probability of the Straw Hats having a romantic relationship with someone outside the pack is high. Luffy and Hancock have a history together, and the Shichibukai clearly loves him. Putting himself at risk countless times to save Supernova. He doubts? Well, I will present you with some facts that reinforce this relationship. It all started when Luffy was sent by Bartholomew Kuma to Amazon Lily, an island inhabited only by women. There he met Hancock but did not fall in love with her incredible beauty. However, the Shichibukai had her spell turned against herself and ended up falling in love with the protagonist. The path for Hancock's love to blossom was not an easy one. First, Luffy was chased by the Amazons, and after which he was arrested, escaping and finding the Empress naked while bathing. Sentenced to execution because of this, the pirate had to fight the Shichibukai sisters, Boa Sandersonia and Boa Marigold. Some women tried to convince the Empress otherwise, however she petrified them. When Luffy accidentally found Hancock in the bath, he saw a mark on her back that looked familiar. In the midst of his battle against the Boa sisters, he noticed the presence of the same mark on the body of one of them, and promptly covered it up, not letting the islanders know about it. After most people have left the place, Hancock decides to test Luffy. She offers him a choice: restore the 3 petrified women or return home safely. The Empress and her 2 sisters are shocked when the pirate unhesitatingly drops to his knees and is grateful that the woman can be recovered. Hancock was expecting Luffy to be selfish and immoral like every other man she had encountered. The Shichibukai then thanked the pirate for the act of preserving her sister's integrity and tells her about her past of slavery. The mark the protagonist saw on her and her sister's backs were given by a Tenryubito. After Hancock learns of Luffy's punch at one of the world government nobles in Sabaudi, she starts to admire him. It was in Amazon Lily that the protagonist learned of the execution date of his brother, Portgas the Ace, and that he was imprisoned in Impel Down. The pirate then asks Hancock for a favor, to help him reach the prison and thus rescue his relative. At the time of the request, the Empress was ill, however she agreed to help him. It is later discovered that the illness Hancock contracted was called love sickness, being nothing more than her uncontrolled crush on Luffy, a feeling she had never felt for any man before. The disease was the cause of the death of all the previous rulers on the island. However, it was explained that the reason for the others to have been put to death was the fact that they tried to suppress their feelings, unlike what happened to Hancock, who fell in love and therefore survived. Amazon ruler Lily asks for a marine escort, and only with a world government ship could Luffy enter the prison. The pirate is hidden by Hancock during the voyage, but not only that, she orders the sailors to bring lots of food, all to pamper her lover and make him comfortable until he arrives at Impel Down. Arriving at the prison, Luffy literally ties himself to Hancock with her rubber arms, and she hides him under her cloak. When Hancock was about to have her full body searched by Deputy Jail Chief Domino, she immediately petrified her, as well as the Den Den Mushi vigilantes. Luffy finally reveals herself, and the Shichibukai explains that she couldn't accompany him. The Empress begs him to promise not to make a riot inside Impel Down, showing concern for the protagonist's life. She is completely thrilled when her lover finally says Hancock correctly. Afterwards, Luffy thanks her by lip-syncing, but the Shichibukai makes the action for an I love you and passes out. The two part ways as Luffy advances through the prison levels to rescue Ace, following the Vivre card his brother gave him in Alabasta, and Hancock leaves with Vice Admiral Momonga to Marineford. In the War of the Best, Luffy's arrival brought relief to Hancock, knowing he was safe. When Sengoku says that the pirate is the son of the revolutionary monkey D-Dragon, she states that she wouldn't care less about the Straw Hat Pirates even if he were the son of the devil. At a certain point in the war, the protagonist is taken down by Smoker. Hancock intervenes and kicks the Marine captain aside, saying she has never been so angry in her life, threatening to cut him up and give him to the animals. She then gives Luffy the key to free Ace from the handcuffs. He then hugs her, very grateful for the Shichibukai's attitude, causing her to collapse with joy, as, in her mind, the hug was a marriage proposal. Luffy rushes towards Ace again, leaving the Marines to assume he has defeated Hancock. Before Smoker could follow him, the Empress intercepts him again, breaking his jute in half and preventing him from attacking her lover. The Shichibukai demonstrated there that, for Luffy, his title and her people's safety were things that could be risky. Moments later, she screams in rage at Admiral Aokiji as he stabs the Mugiwara with his ice blade. Hancock, out of love for Luffy, stood in front of the pacifistas, preventing them from shooting the supernova. While putting his life in danger, the Shichibukai easily defeated the world government's weapons, proving to be an expert and strong fighter, destroying the pacifista's head with a slap. When Sentomaru confronts her, asking her why she is attacking marine machines despite being a Shichibukai, her only response is that love always comes in a hurricane, meaning that her love for Luffy boosts her battle power against anyone who opposes him. After the events in Marineford, Hancock takes a critically ill Luffy back to Amazon Lily. There, worried about her lover, she barely eats. The pirate didn't wake up until 2 weeks after arriving on the island, but the Empress only found him when everyone was gathered on the beach. taking with him a large amount of food made especially for Luffy. Days after they set sail, Hancock went with Rayleigh to Rusukaina Island, where the protagonist's 2-year special training would take place. She said she would send him food every day from Amazon Lily. When Luffy thanked him, the Shichibukai stated that it was the 10th time he had called her by her name. Thrilled by this, she asked Neon if that meant they were engaged. Amazon Elder Lily logically replied no. When Rayleigh said that no woman would be allowed on the island during Luffy's training, Hancock was furious, but calmed down when the Dark King stated that everything was for Luffy's own good. 2 years later, Luffy finds Hancock and her sisters to take him back to the Sabaudi archipelago. When the protagonist regretted not being able to eat the animals on Rusukaina Island, the Empress claims that she has all of his favorite foods on her ship. Moments later, she appears giving her lover a large amount of supplies. She also helped disguise him, giving him a coat and a fake mustache. As the pirate is leaving, the Shichibukai asks Luffy not to say goodbye. He responds by saying that he would never do that and that he hoped to see her again. Hancock, again emotional, mistakes his words for a marriage proposal. The last time the two interacted with each other was when the Empress distracted the Marines, allowing her lover and the other Mugiwaras to set sail for Fishman Island. At that time, Hancock's last act to Luffy was a farewell wink. And if you think about it, there's clearly a correlation between Luffy and Hancock's relationship with the Pirate King's relationship with his wife. The Pirate King Goldie Roger is an ultimate reference for Luffy. It is known that he also has a romance. However, this fact only occurred at the end of his journey. Years before his death, he dated a woman named Portgas de Roche, but it is not public knowledge if they were married. The relationship between Rogue and Roger resulted in an only child who was later named by his mother as Goldie Ace. To protect him from his infamy, the Pirate King left his son under the protection of the sailor Monkey D. Garp. Rogue lived in Badarilla, South Blue. She lived and died there, where she met Roger. She was a remarkable character for holding her pregnancy for an incredible 20 months, leaving the baby free from the consequences of her father's life. Despite their short history, the bond between them seemed to be strong. She cried a lot when she learned of Roger's execution, showing that there was a link between the two not shown until now in that work. Years later, Ace adopted the surname Portgas as a way of thanking and honoring his mother. That said, it came to my mind, what if Luffy follows in Roger's footsteps and wants to embark on a romantic relationship when he's already conquered everything? The first and only person who has loved him as he is Hancock. Risking her own life to save him, giving the world government room to punish its people for helping Luffy, and still going days without eating for worrying about his health. After the War of the Best, it wouldn't be the same as the romance between Roger and Rogue, but it would be parallel, in the fact that both, after a long journey, chasing their dreams, embarked on a serious relationship. For the sake of the work, a worthy ending for both Luffy and Hancock would be the two of them forming a couple, and who knows, building a family. But now I want to know what you think, so leave it in the comments. And of course, if you made it this far, it's because you like the content, so it doesn't hurt to subscribe to our channel and become one more member of our fleet, my dear sailor. And of course, do not forget to press the like button. That helps a lot in spreading the video and the channel. So help us to become the largest fleet of pirates here on YouTube, okay? A big hug for everyone, and until the next video.